Today's video is going to be very special and very important. Today's video will also feature exclusive information that's only available in this video. I went onto a campus myself to conduct investigative journalism. Today's video will be focused on exposing Hood College for attempting to censor free speech, silencing the press, and kicking me out of a forum that was supposed to foster conversation about, among other things, the First Amendment. Yeah, that's some real irony right there. You may already have an idea about what is happening at Hood College from Ben Shapiro or the College Fix, but in case you don't, here's the summary. On Tuesday, April 18th, the college Republicans put up a board which was approved by the college, sharing conservative quotes, values, and culture. This board featured a spectrum of ideas ranging from traditional conservative ideas to beliefs on the farther right. The idea behind the board was to foster conversation across campus about issues that are rarely talked about. These ideas are beliefs held by many conservatives but are not talked about very often on college campuses because a lot of conservatives are afraid to come forward with these ideas. This is disgusting and shameful. Hate will not make us great. The Hood College Republicans are nothing more than a racist, transphobic, xenophobic hate group. Well, gee, I wonder why. Even though the executive members of the college Republicans do not all agree with everything that was on the board, they thought it was important to expose these drastically underrepresented ideas on Hood College's campus. Some of these ideas included a controversial quote from Ben Shapiro saying that transgender people have a mental illness. Now, as you can imagine, this triggered a lot of college snowflakes, even though the statement was technically factually correct. Yes, gender dysphoria is no longer classified as a mental illness under DSM, but according to ICD-10, gender identity disorder is still classified as a mental illness. Transgender people must be diagnosed by a doctor as gender dysphoric to undergo gender reconstruction surgery. So it's still recognized as a condition related to sexual health. Regardless that these facts exist, they were completely disregarded for the sake of feelings. Instead of having a civil debate, a lot of students resorted to screaming hate speech and transphobia. How has the reaction been towards your club and the display on campus?
That's definitely a big question. We have had mixed reviews, to say the least.
It's funny to see white, probably trust fund kids getting into identity politics. Remind me again how these people are all white trust fund kids? We should be clear. Republicans at Hood College are using hate speech as a recruiting tool, and it is sad. We should be very clear. The young Democrats are claiming facts that they don't like is hate speech. As a result, I chose to come to the campus yesterday and scatter pamphlets for LGBTQRSTWEXZ support in the Frederick area. I made a point to put a small stack of them near this display because I've seen firsthand how harmful this rhetoric can be. Within 2 minutes' time, I walked back over and saw a student who I assumed to be a member of the Hood College Republicans removing the literature I'd left there. He's tall, white, with dark hair, and was wearing a vertical, pinstripe button down. Yes, because only Republicans look like that. Is this transphobic trash hanging in wit? Have never wanted to vandalize my alma mater more. Yes, of course, because vandalizing school property really helps to get your point across, you illogical idiot. And the award for the most triggered definitely goes to this girl. I love to fart. Okay. Fight all Republicans tirelessly. How I sleep knowing over $200 was donated to Planned Parenthood in the name of the president of the Hood College Republicans. It's no secret that lots of things make me cry. What? You're an emotional little snowflake? I'm shocked. But only Republicans make me cry of righteous fury. Will I ever stop shaking? I've been shaking for the last 30 minutes since I saw this board at Hood. I'm just so furious. Can you imagine being so sensitive about opinions you don't like, you actually develop epilepsy? It wasn't just the college students who were upset by this either, but the president of the entire college sent out a campus-wide email about the hurt feelings. In today's political climate and rhetoric, we walk a fine line between freedom of speech and the safety and security of our citizens. On Tuesday, a display was put up in the Whitaker Campus Center. Many members of our community have expressed hurt and anger over some of the messages in the display. Yeah, because you know, free speech is really important. Unless, of course, that free speech includes opinions that make other people uncomfortable. Not only this, but there were multiple vandalism attempts as well. One of the vandals actually came from the Frederick Equality Movement. Yeah, that's right, a movement about equality doesn't actually want equality if you're a conservative. This pathetic coward stuck stupid signs on the board saying, "Free speech does not cover hate speech." Well, I would ask, what gives you the right to determine what is or is not hate speech? On April 20th, hours before a second vandal actually tore part of the exhibit down, there was another campus-wide email sent out. The last 24 hours have been difficult for our campus. Emotions are running high. As I said in my message last night, Hood College wants our students to feel free to express their viewpoints, to know that they will be heard, and to share their perspectives in a way that fosters civil discourse and debate, and adheres to our values of providing a safe and respectful space for every member of our community. Well, how on earth is a civil discourse or a civil debate even supposed to happen if you're also trying to create a safe space? There's been strong outcry to remove the display on behalf of those who've been hurt by the messages, and anger and dismay I fully share. Now this right here is absolutely pathetic, and it's just another reason that I don't like college. The president of these coddled college kids shares their hurt and anger, encourages them to be angry over conservative ideas, and once again encourages all emotion, no fact. Not only this, but the first part of this sentence seems to be a total contradiction. The college Republicans were actually threatened with policy violations if they did not remove the board.
Dean of the school, she called us in her office and said she thought the messages were offending students, it was hurting their feelings, and she said, can you guys remove it? And we said no. We said, if you think it's a policy violation, you can remove it, but we're not going to remove it ourselves. And the administration told us, here at Hood College, we're not about censorship, so we want you to take it down. And we said, well, no, if administration wants to take it down, we won't fight administration, of course. But we're not ourselves taking it down. And they said again, well, here at Hood College, we don't foster an environment that encourages censorship. We want you to do the right thing. I said, that's very condescending. I'm like, we think we are doing the right thing. We think that under the conditions of free speech and under college policy, we also believe we're not doing anything wrong. And they said there was a lady from HR, not the dean of the school, she was reasonable talking about due process, but there was a woman from HR who was very angry, and she said something along the lines of like, well, if you don't take it down, we'll have to take it down. And if we have to take it down, that means policy violations. That means you might get judicials. That means you might be written up. It was policy 5-5, which was harassment, sexual assault, bullying, and discrimination.
The school has come out almost completely against the board, and they have basically threatened us with violating harassment, discrimination policy.
Did you feel that the administration had threatened you?
It's interesting. I think many members of my organization threw that word around. I would say that I definitely, at the very least, felt that way. I don't know how I feel after the meeting, but I know many members still feel that they were threatened, and the administration didn't like the word threatened being used to describe kind of what their intentions were.
Well, I guess you're all about freedom of expression, until you're not. What's even more ridiculous is that after this masked vandal was spotted in the school, no email was sent. The administration sat silent. What the school is basically saying is that this is a lot more dangerous than this. On April 23rd, the college Republicans held a meeting that was completely swarmed by special snowflakes who came to tell them just how offended they were. It was also the place that I met my little friend that was in my last video. Now, I managed to grab an interview with one of the people who spoke that night, and I experienced some of the college brainwashing firsthand. I was just curious as to what aspect of the board you considered to be hate speech.
Sure, let's take a look at it.
All right, we can take a look at it.
This is really generalizing. That's just not true, though.
Okay, well, I mean, we could argue about that all day, but I believe it is
let's
true.
Let's do it. Rock, paper, scissors.
No, I don't want to rock, paper, scissors you. I'm just saying based on the facts. We can look those facts up. What is there anything else you consider to be the hate speech on here?
I would call this right on the border there.
Let's just say for a second those facts are true and undeniably true because everyone has their own facts. Do you still think that solid facts could be considered hate speech? Since this seems to be rooted in fact, but this is also being called hate speech by a lot of people, including you, is it fair to call this hate speech even though this appears to be rooted in fact?
You know what? I would go ahead. and go out on a limb here and say that I think a fact could be hate speech.
Yes. This guy just said that facts can be hate speech.
Because if the deliverance of the fact is directly intentioned to cause harm to other people without any sort of grounding of attempting to improve their condition, then yes, I think it is within the realm of possibility that a fact could be a hate speech. Now, this was countered as being factual as a previous definition.
Come Tuesday, April 25th, there was another gathering. This time the college Republicans had not organized it. And this event specifically was actually just a special snowflake convention. Not only this, but once again, the administration lied by saying media would be allowed to film segments of the meeting. So when filming was banned, do you feel like you were lied to by the administration?
Yeah, in the instant, in instances, yeah, if media being banned was not really part of the negotiation that we had, originally came. They said the only thing I think we heard was that there would be limitations placed, but that people could record, segments if need be, or if they wanted to. But there was no absolutes really drawn across the table.
Well, when I arrived at the event, I was greeted by this sign. And I still had to register as media, even though no one was actually permitted to take recordings. I was also informed by a security guard that if I was caught recording, I would be kicked out of the meeting. Hood's excuse for banning media from filming was that this was a community issue only meant for Hood. What I find to be a little bit funny was the person who banned the media from filming is the executive director of marketing. Really? So your excuse was that you wanted to protect your little college echo chamber, but it sounds a lot more like you were just scared of some bad press. Fortunately, however, we did manage to get some notes and some quotes, and now I understand why they didn't want any of the outside world seeing this. The Conservative Culture Center, or the CCC, is an example of propaganda that correlates to genocide. Yes, this person honestly believes that, and honestly, why shouldn't he? The president of his own school clearly vilifies conservatives and sides with the offended. Another girl said, and I also quote, "I like our enclosed community, but to me, I feel it's been infiltrated to the outside now. I don't feel safe." Yeah, of course you enjoy living in an echo chamber, hearing nothing but your own ideas, and any outside factual opinions are totally scary, right? If different ideas or a few pieces of paper stuck up on a tack board cause you to feel unsafe, I think you have other issues. Finally, after the event, I was greeted once again by the security guard, who then informed me that he had been receiving complaints about me for some reason, even though I had not been breaking any rules. He told me, and this is from memory, this is not an exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, "If you cause a disruption, you will be asked to leave. If you show up again, you'll be talking to state police for trespassing." Only minutes later, I was attempting to conduct interviews, so I walked up to this crowd of people, and I accidentally bumped into my little SJW friend from my last video. She got a little bit upset with me, some of her friends got upset with me. This caused a minor disturbance, and at this point the security guard was just waiting for me to mess up. So right away he escorted me out, I was kicked out, and he even followed me halfway to my car to make sure I just got the hell out of there. Hey guys, Hunter Avallone here. We were there trying to get some interviews with people, and I was just kicked off of the campus. Apparently the girl who was in my previous video saw me and got extremely upset. All in all, completely pathetic. This whole thing was supposed to be about free speech, and here I am not even allowed to conduct some interviews just because a few people got upset after they were the ones that screamed at me. I really think that all speech, whether it's from the right, from the left, should be tolerated and should be permitted to be seen. I think it's important to remember that someone's disagreement with something does not make it instantly hate speech. Even worse, I have now heard from anonymous students that Hood College was apparently talking about taking legal action against me.
What they had ever heard was that President Chaplain and Dean White had expressed concerns about certain media coverage of the event and possible and other events in past on the college. They were willing to possibly file a lawsuit or sue or look into legal actions to be taken against certain media.
Okay, now was I specifically mentioned, or was this other media? I mean, was it obviously in reference to me?
Yes, actually, you were specifically mentioned. I don't believe any other media was specifically mentioned.
So now, not only is Hood College trying to censor free speech on their campus, but they could be trying to censor free speech off of their campus. I ask that you please share this video and get the word out. Please give this video a like, comment below, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks everyone for watching. See you later.